But we begin with breaking news in Atlanta, where a Georgia appeals court has just stripped Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis from the 2020 election interference case against Donald Trump in that state. Let's bring in Greg Bluestein from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution and former Assistant Manhattan District Attorney Catherine Christian. So, Greg, this filing just came down. It's some 30-plus pages. Walk us through what we know.
Yeah, we're still going through the filing, but we know this completely upends what's expected to be the last criminal case pending against the former president. Remember, this case is still ongoing. District Attorney Fani Willis had that very high-profile questions about whether there was a conflict of interest involving former Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade. Well, this court ruled that there is an apparent conflict of interest that merits her dismissal from the case. I'll read you one quote. While we recognize that an appearance of impropriety generally is not enough to support disqualification, this is the rare case in which disqualification is mandated and no other remedy will suffice to restore public confidence in the integrity of these proceedings. So this can still be appealed to the Georgia Supreme Court. It is expected to be appealed to the Georgia Supreme Court, but this is a really
arrogant, smug self. Look at her. If you guys remember, man, she got on that stand and boy, she made black women look bad. I'm just going to be honest. She made powerful black women look bad. That's the truth of the matter. And for those of you that have been living under a rock, this is Fani Willis, the woman who decided that she wanted to get into a relationship and then hire that man for a specific job. And they thought that they were going to be the big bad wolves that finally took down Trump. Nope. Nope.
Decisive ruling against Fani Willis being able to continue this case.
Catherine, what's your reaction? What do you make of this ruling?
It's not shocking. It was shocking when we found out that there was this relationship, and you just said it was an unforced error. But usually appellate courts defer to the lower court, the trial judge, who fashioned a remedy. He said Nathan Wade, that's the man she was having an affair with, had to leave, but the office could stay. And this court has said, nope, they didn't. This court said that Judge McAfee did not really appreciate that her decision-making wasn't just the indictment. It was who to charge, how to charge it, and that's at the time when this alleged romantic relationship was going on. And they said that also was one of the reasons why they think it's more than an appearance of impropriety. It's a conflict of interest. And not just her, the entire office is disqualified. So this is another Trump indictment that sort of will disappear. And yes, they will appeal it, but, you know, Donald Trump's defense team will use the same arguments that they did for the Manhattan DA's office and say he's now going to be president. This should be suspended while he's president because you can't prosecute a sitting president.
So you think this just goes away, that this is the end of this case?
Well, practically, yes. I'm certain, I shouldn't say I'm certain, probably the Fulton County DA will appeal it, but Donald Trump is going to be president. And his lawyers are going to say, you know, he's not going to Fulton County to appear in any case. So if anything's going to happen, you have to wait until 2029 when he's no longer in office. So this effectively is another case that sort of will just, one of the four indictments that will disappear.
One option.
Yeah. You love to see it, guys, because I don't know what's going on with Fulton County, but if you were paying attention to the YSL trial, you know, they got some corruption going on over there, so I don't feel any sympathy for him. I don't put it past him that she might have been paying the man extra money because she was screwing him. I don't put it past her. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. Look. I've been having this debate and this argument with these people, and some of them are just these staunch leftists, and they're willing to give anybody that is on the Democratic side a pass. And they keep saying, oh, she did nothing wrong. There is no crime about being in a relationship. And what people don't understand is the appearance of impropriety when you're dealing with the integrity of the court and the legal system. The integrity has to be upheld on what. So look, is she the first person to ever get in a relationship with somebody and it be like that? Obviously not. But guess what? If you're driving and you're speeding, right? If you're speeding, and while you're speeding, the car in front of you was speeding first, so you sped up. You both got somewhere to be, but then the cop comes and pulls you over. You're not gonna just be able to give a valid response and say, oh, well, this is not gonna be taken as a valid response if you say, oh, well, he was speeding too, officer. Why you didn't pull him over? It doesn't matter. He pulled you over because you were doing something wrong. I mean, I'm just saying, like, the appearance of impropriety is enough. And the truth of the matter is, it's not a good look. So even though it's not, so take it into consideration that it's not a good look, guys. You have to understand that this was the only fair outcome. It's fair.
I am understanding, Greg, is this could end up being handed off to a different office, different prosecutor. Is there any other office or prosecutor in Georgia you think would make sense that would be willing to take this up?
I doubt it.
That's such a good question, because there is a prosecuting attorney's council that could ostensibly take up a case like this. But earlier on this year, that same prosecuting attorney's council special prosecutor decided not to pursue similar charges against Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones, who Fani Willis was earlier disqualified against seeking charges against because of another conflict of interest, a completely separate conflict of interest. So they've already signaled they're very unlikely to seek any sort of charges against any of these co-defendants. And it's also important to note that the judges, the benches, the appellate court benches in Georgia are very conservative. The Court of Appeals is very conservative, and the Supreme Court, 8 of the 9 justices were appointed by Republican governors. So it's a very conservative bench here in Georgia.
So to be clear, Catherine, this case and this ruling is not just regarding the charges against Trump. This is a RICO case. We know there were multiple defendants or co-defendants. What happens as far as those co-defendants go?
All of the defendants, because of clearly if Donald Trump was affected by this conflict of interest, so were all of his co-defendants. It's not fair that they have to proceed, but Donald Trump gets off, meaning his case gets dismissed. So all of, and I believe there are 15 remaining defendants. It'll be
What about the people who took plea deals?
Guilty.
I know the people that pled guilty. I know they feel so stupid. I know they feel dumb. I know you feel dumb.
They will probably argue that their plea should be withdrawn. That will be a whole other, proceeding. It could be argued that, no, their plea was knowing and voluntary and intelligent, but they will argue the same conflict existed for us, and we would have never pled guilty if we knew about it.
That's crazy. That's crazy, guys. But at the end of the day, it just seems like Trump is on a victory lap. It's a victory lap. You just see ABC just settled. You seen that he's suing that chick in Iowa. Fani Willis just got disqualified. Trump is on a comeback tour. Goodness gracious. I'm not mad at it, man. People have been really unpleasant. So I mean, like I always say, for every action there's a reaction. So what can you say?